Good morning, friends. Hey, good morning, Vicky. Hi, Karen. Good to see you. Hope your sister's doing okay, Vicky. Good morning, Yvette. Good morning, everybody. Hello, hello. Good to see everyone on this sunshiny day. Hey, Cecile. Good morning to you. I know it is nice to see the sunshine for sure. Hello, everybody. Good morning, John. I hope it's sunshiny up there in New Hampshire too. Hey, Jane. Hi, John. Hope you're both well. Hope things are well. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hey, Linda. Just Touch Tuesday, Wednesday. A nice little binge watching 11:11. I love it. Yeah. It's kind of a drag now to watch shows like every week, isn't it? Like it's not even as much fun. Like the whole how we ever survived it, I'll never know. But um, yeah, we just finished up with 1883, and we had to watch it every week. Good grief! It was, it was like some horrible task. But anyway, terrific series. Good morning, everybody. All right, let's get going. It is this the 10th day of March at 11:11 on this Thursday, and I'm glad you're here with us, a part of the 11:11 journey. I wanted to just give you a little bite. This comes from the first chapter of the book of James. And he says this, he says, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." That and scripture is filled with invitations to persevere, the invitations to endure that which is happening. And one of my very favorite stories about endurance is actually about and the ship Endurance, and about Ernest Shackleton. 107 years ago, the intrepid explorer sought to be the first person to circumnavigate or go across rather the Antarctic polar cap. And his ship, called the Endurance, would get trapped in the ice, and it isn't there. And what would follow would be an incredible story of endurance, of getting his men home, and getting his crewmates rescued. I won't regale you with all the details, because that's not where we want to go. Because and it would and I if I told the story, it would only diminish it. It's worth looking up. There's some great films and some great documentaries out there on the Endurance and on the voyage itself. Um, but there was a time. But what happened is, 107 years ago, his ship, the Endurance, became trapped in the ice, and that as they were trapped in the ice, the ship was crushed and it sank. And so the men and he were stuck on the ice, and there would be this incredible tale of him and them working together to save all their lives, and everyone was saved. And I'll let you look that story up. But as they stood there on the ice, as he was recounting what had happened, he said this. He said, "I chose life over death for myself and my friends. I believe it is in our nature to explore, to reach out into the unknown. The only true failure would be not to explore at all." And Shackleton is considered one of the greatest leaders of people that came out of the 20th century. His ability to inspire, his ability to endure, to persevere, his ability to, in the midst of darkness, to continue to lead is unprecedented, I think. And so, and I bring this up today is because Saturday was the 100th anniversary of his burial, of his funeral. It also 100 years from the time that he was laid in the ground. He was laid in the ground in Uruguay, having had a heart attack, preparing to make another attempt to cross Antarctica. He was laid to rest in Uruguay 100 years ago to the day on the 5th of March. At the same day, the explorer ship from South Africa would discover his ship at the bottom, 3,000 feet at the bottom of the ocean. I put a link in the description today of the news article and some of the video of the ship, and it's truly amazing because there's nothing that eats wood down there, so it is as preserved as when it went through the ice, and some of the images are just spectacular of finding the ship 3,000 feet down, which in itself is an incredible feat, an incredible effort. One of the things that Shackleton said when he was talking about endurance, not just his ship endurance, but when he was talking about his leadership through this incredible trial that he and his men had on the ice and would sailing around and all that they would attempt to do, as he said this, and this is a quote from him. He says, "A man must shape himself to a new mark directly as the old one goes to ground. A man must shape himself to a new mark directly as the old one goes to ground." I think if we're going to talk about endurance, we're going to talk about this perseverance, if we're going to talk about what it is that gets us to this crown of life that James is pointing towards, I really believe that there's so much brilliance in this simple idea that, one of the things I think that is so difficult in our current age is that the things that we're aiming at, our marks out there, just seem to be shifting all the time, right? I mean, they do. They seem like it's difficult to okay, I'm going to go do this. Well, that's not going to work out. So what should I do? So we find ourselves in this listless, aimless place sometimes about what's our next goal? Where are we pointing ourselves next? And Shackleton's invitation to leadership and his invitation to perseverance, how he endured, was always that as soon as his goal that he had set, his aim that he had made, realized that had gone to ground, that it had disappeared, that there was always that the next best thing you could do is pick another one up as quick as possible. A man must shape himself to a new mark directly as the old one goes to ground. Friends, my invitation today is for you to endure. And check out the story of the Endurance. Check out the ship, and it's really magnificent in all in its pristine, preserved state at the bottom of the ocean. And consider yourself that to be a leader in your life, because it's my belief to be a person of faith is to be a leader. To be a person of spirit is to be a leader. To be someone who says that I walk in the way of Jesus the Christ is to lead the world who has so much of it has lost its mark. And I don't mean that you have to be standing on a street corner handing out chick tracts. That's not my point. But it is to say that one of the things we have as people of faith is we have a mark that never goes to ground, and that our lives illuminated by that mark. That this way that we can see the world through the resurrection, through new life coming, and so that we have this advantage. I think that the rest of the world might not in some way, and if you're feeling listless, if you're feeling like you've lost your mark, I hope you'll set a new one today. Shackleton's, when asked, about being a leader, he said, if you're a leader, he said, a fellow that other fellows look to, you've got to keep going. You've got to keep going. Friends, I hope you'll keep going into the grand adventure of this life. Because that's what made Shackleton the great leader that he was that he understood life as a great game, not as an unserious game, but as a great game. And that we can understand it as a game because we can understand it as a life that is surrounded and held by the one who made us. That there are edges and there are boundaries and there are ways in which we are contained, even in the greatest of chaos, even in the greatest of despair, even stuck on an ice floe off the coast of Antarctica. We can understand that there's an order and a love that binds it all together and holds it all together, and of which we are a part, and that because of that we can pick a new mark as quick as we need to when the old mark goes to ground. When Shackleton first started his voyage, he put an ad in the paper in London, and the ad in the paper read this: "Men wanted for dangerous expedition, low wages for long hours and arduous labor under brutal conditions, months of continuous darkness and extreme cold, great risk of life and limb from disease, accidents and other hazards, small chance of fame in case of success." Friends, it is my hope you will take up your dangerous expedition. You will take up your next mark, whatever it is that you might need and see in the world ahead, that you might know that no matter the great labor, no matter the accidents or the disease or the darkness that faces your life, that blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life, and that the Lord has promised to those who love him. Small chance of fame in case of success. Lord, friends, your crown awaits. Friends, the promise of goodness and the promise of your overcoming is in the midst of your endurance. So I invite you, check out the endurance. Check out your endurance. Find your new mark and live into the dangerous expedition of your life. All right, friends, that's my hope for you today. Do check out the videos and the images that I put in the link in the description. They're really fantastic. I hope all of you have a great weekend and many blessings. We'll be worshiping here at 10 a.m. here on 282 Rock Street. We're continuing our journey through our covenant series, and hope you'll join us here, either in person or on Facebook Live. All right, peace and grace, my friends. Have a great weekend, and we'll pick it up next week with another 11:11.